Guys, I'm at the dump. What do you see there?
That's not good.
Look over here. What do you see here? Yep, all kinds of goodies. But George isn't taking any of them today. Woohoo! Bye for now. Well, hi guys and gals. Meet George, the shade tree fix-it man. And I just got back from the dump and you saw what I didn't take from the dump. What you didn't see was what I did take from the dump. There was a nice Glastron, older Glastron boat there, and it was in decent shape, complete. And I asked for permission to pull a couple of things off, and I was going to pull more off, but it was pretty hot out there. But I got these two air scoops that came off the back that are in pretty decent shape, and even better than the air scoops, look at this boat seat. And yep, that thing is in perfect shape. I'm thinking now, I'm kicking myself, I wished I grabbed both of them, because this one is going to end up going up here on the mower. I wanted a high back seat for here, and this one I have to make some modifications, of course, but this will fit right up on here. I'm just setting it on the battery for the moment. It still has the plastic boot post mount underneath, but how cool is that going to be? Yep, and the back folds down, and even got the strap to hold it down, although I'll probably cut that off because that'll just get in my way. But yeah, how cool is that, huh? Nice, and it's in perfect condition. I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with it at all. Look at that thing. It's a little dirty, that's all. But there's no rips, no tears, and the other one was just the same. And even the hardware on it is in nice shape. So, yeah, that was another thing I got at the dump. But then I had one of my pieces that I had ordered come in the mail today. And that piece was my oil pressure switch. Look at that thing. It's a thing of beauty. Yes, it is. It is a thing of beauty. But you want to be impressed? You want to really be impressed? Watch this. Let me pull this off of here. How about them apples? What do you think? My new logo for the Emperor. Yeah, the gauge is in there. It's just sitting in there. It's not tightened down, not hooked up, obviously. That's my new Emperor logo that I made up, and I have a couple more that I'm going to end up putting on the side of the hood once it's redone. Yeah, so pretty cool. I'm expecting to come back out right after I have some lunch. Okay, let's see if we got our oil pressure light hooked up properly. There, it's on. Yep, and as soon as the oil pressure comes up, we lose our ground and the light goes out. The way this works is we have a hot wire coming off of the ignition switch that is hot only when the switch is turned to on, and of course that is always hot once it's turned on, and our light lights up. And the ground wire for this light, because this is a 2-wire light, goes back through our wiring harness and comes back here and plugs into our sending unit. And the way that works is this is grounded when there is no oil pressure. As soon as the oil pressure comes up, it breaks the connection and opens it so that we no longer have a ground for the light, and the light then goes off. Okay, so when you're wanting to reuse positive connector, sometimes it becomes necessary to do some soldering. And I have already fluxed and tinned each of the pieces, and this is going to get soldered to there. That's the intention anyway. So let's see what happens here. I'm going to give it a little bit more solder. Right there on the top. And I'm going to line this up on here. See if I can hold it together. My hands are not very steady. I should have my extra hand from inside. I have one on my tool bench in my model shop, which would actually hold both pieces of wire. Okay. More than one way to skin a cat. No. Eventually, if this doesn't work, I will go in the house and get my third fingers. See if I can do this now. It's together, but how well it is together is another story entirely. And the other question we have to ask ourselves, I'm going to roll it over and try doing it from the other side. So I want to make sure this stays together. This particular piece of wire is the one that will be going to the solenoid for the fuel shutoff in the carburetor. I'm going to put a little more, probably would help my cause if I had shut the fan off overhead first. And I used my handy dandy vacuum out here. I used my handy dandy charcoal fluid lighter, or whatever you call it, to heat that up. Now you'll see that there's a little bit of a tab sticking out right there, and that tab will grab inside of this piece here when I stick it in, if I can get that piece to stick in there. And I think my second piece of wire may be a problem. It may be sticking out too much. See what happens. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. And there it is up in there, and the tab I think is sticking out, and it's not perfect, but it's going to do the job, and this is locked in place. So now I can hook this up to my solenoid lead, which this comes off of that solenoid lead, has a quick disconnect, and the other end of this wire is going to go back to the wire that goes back to the ignition switch. Hold on to your hat. I have the amp gauge hooked up, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything, but I'm not sure that the charging system was working on this engine before I pulled it off the last mower. As I recall, looking back at the video when I pulled the motor out, it was iffy at the best. So we have that hooked up. We have all of the wiring done back in here, and including to our amp gauge down in there, and I believe I have it hooked up right. I would think, even without the thing running, that there should be, well, there's nothing drawing on it, so nothing's going to happen when I turn the key. But I would think that when I crank the starter, that it should go down. It jumps a little bit, but I don't know. So, and I'm assuming that this gauge works. It's a brand new one. But we have that all hooked up, and I have all my wiring back here connected, and you see I have quick disconnects on everything. I still have to put a wiring harness in here, and I didn't get around to welding the exhaust because I've been working on the wiring. You saw me doing the this wire here, which is for the solenoid, and this one here, it's wired, the connectors are reversed, so they can't mix this one up with that one. So I was not able to get the piece out of here. So yeah, so I had to just put another quick disconnect right here, and that's from our regulator, which comes off of the what's the word I want? Come on now, George. Well, some people call them alternators, and there's other things that they call them, and I can't think of it. It's late in the day. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I've also been working on my throttle linkage, and I have this first piece of cable hooked up, and it will function. And that's all the way one way, and that's all the other way. And that's set up, and I have that coming around the side here. And here's my original cable here, and I'm working on the idea of a bell crank system. And I think what I'm going to do is I have a half a dozen of these. They're all half-inch wrenches. They must have come from some place that they were using them, you know, like skill saws or something like that, but they're all brand new, never been used. So I'm going to cut the head off it anyway, and put a pivot point down in here, and then put two holes on the outer end, and have the back one hooked on the outside and the front one hooked on the inside. Man, I got a mosquito biting after me. And our neighbor sprayed for mosquitoes and bugs, and doesn't seem to be helping too much. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. There's also a possibility I may use this throttle linkage here and just cut the handle off. I don't need the handle, and I don't need the spring-loaded junk under here. All I need, and this already has two holes in it, and one of them would hook up like that, and the other one would hook onto the other cable, and yeah, and I probably would turn it around this way but I was swinging around in the bracket so I could put the bracket on this way, you know what I'm saying? But this piece here will be out there. Anyway, that's one of the things I'm thinking about. I had also considered doing this. The mosquitoes are really, really going after me. I had also considered doing this. This is a washer, I think, off of a table saw or something like that. And I had thought if I mounted that in there, that I could hook one cable on here and the other one on here. I could do that one, but it ends up being too short of a throw because the washer's too small around. It would be going past the center too quickly. So we discounted that one. And I haven't done anything with the choke setup yet. The choke will have to be a separate cable because it has a separate hookup here. It's not like a regular lawnmower where you push the cable all the way forward and it automatically hooks into the choke. So we're not going to do that. I'll put up a separate cable. It'll come across here and go down here, and maybe I'll just make a mount down in here somewhere to catch the cable. I already have a choke cable that I can use, and you notice that on my dashboard I do not have a label for choke. So what I'm thinking is I may use this cable here, and let me back you up, and I guess that's as far back as we're going to go, and mount this probably like to the front of the seat bracket. You know what I mean? The seat bracket. And that'll be a quick and easy fix for that. So yeah, that's what I've been doing today, and it's amazing when you're having to figure out the wiring because none of this was plug and play. It's amazing how much time it takes, and cutting wires and feeding wires and putting on the ends and so forth. Like I said, I was going to put I'm going to put some loom back in here for these wires so to keep them tidied up. Bang! And there it is. I got a little more tidying up to do, but I'm going to do that after I get my seat mount put in. But yeah, that'll make things better, and I'll get this tucked down in here a little bit more. And yeah, so that's where we're at with all of that stuff, and lots more to do. We have fewer than 50 subscribers to go for our big giveaway, so it's coming up pretty soon. And boy, I'll tell you what, that AC behind me works just dandy and it feels good. Hope you're staying cool where you are. Have a great night. Bye for now.